What is up, you guys? Pltr here, and today we're going to be talking about Cathie Wood. She was on CNBC yesterday. She spent a lot of time on there talking about Tesla, talking about Palantir, and talking about a potential crypto ETF that they might be starting. Cathie Wood has been a rock star in the ETF world and really the investing world in the past, year or so. She was one of the main people, along with Ron Barron, really buying up Tesla heavy when it took that major hit a couple of years ago. And really, she's been in the public eye as one of the top investors and top, minds to watch and to pick at as far as investing is considered in 2020. So I want to go over exactly what she said, what the fund has been doing with Palantir, because Palantir, if you guys don't know, it's been getting beaten up for the past couple of weeks. I mean, still over the past 6 months, the stock is up huge, and we have a massive bounce today, up about 14%. So I want to go over kind of what Cathie Wood said about Palantir, about the recent purchases that they've been doing, and kind of where I see Palantir going in the next couple of months, to the next couple of years, really. If you guys don't know what Palantir is, I did do a full company deep dive and breakdown. I will link that here. You can also just type in Peter DeCarlo, PLTR. You'll see it there. So if you want an understanding of what this company actually does, however, I feel like most of you guys here probably know what Palantir does and who they are. So Cathie Wood's ARK Invest ETF acquires over 6.8 million shares of Palantir in the last week alone, as the stock has dipped. So Cathie Wood's the CEO and Chief Investment Officer of ARK Invest, which runs three of the highest returning stock ETFs of the last 3 years. Cathie Wood's ARK Innovation ETF and ARK Next Generation Internet ETF acquired 6.8 million shares of Palantir in the last week. Shares are worth roughly $172 million as of Thursday's closing price, and Cathie Wood bought the dip in Palantir after a surprise earning loss and a lockup expiration, causing the price of the shares to fall. So for those of you who don't know what a lockup expiration is, we saw a big fade in Uber after that happened. We saw a fade in Palantir. Essentially, when a company goes public, you have a lot of private investors who got into that company at different seed rounds is what they call them. So some people might have got in when the company first started. Some people might got in at the first seed round or the first, a rounding up of money, the second rounding up of money, the third rounding up of money. And what happens is when the stock goes public, you can't just have those people who have been, investors in the company dump their shares as soon as it happens. Because when you invest private equity, you can't cash out. Like, if I were to go invest, say $500 million into Capitalist Academy, which is my business, somebody were to do that, they can't just be like, okay, I want to take my money out, right? There's not liquidity like that when you're investing private. So when the company goes public, they're allowed at a certain date, not as soon as the market, not as soon as it goes public, but at a certain date, it's called a lockup period. Those investors are allowed to therefore sell shares in the company and take some profits, because they probably have massive profits at that point. So lockup periods usually affect the stock price in a bad way, because more shares get flooded onto the market, which therefore means, it's a little bit of a dilution. So overall, not the best earnings for Palantir. I'm not going to go over those specifically in this video, but not as good as a lot of people expected, plus the lockout period, plus the fact that the stock in general, I think, was pretty overpriced. We had a massive fade, and Cathie Wood was buying into that dip. One thing, when I was listening to Cathie Wood speak yesterday, she was saying that she agreed with what Palantir was saying on the call, the CEO, basically that if you're here for short-term profits, you're not in the right area. Palantir is not a new company. They've been around for 20 years, but still long-term, she sees a lot of upside in them. And I do see a lot of upside in Palantir, but I do agree, like, if you're here for short-term profits, or you're expecting them to, turn consistent profits for the next, couple of quarters, like, you're not in the right area. You're not in the right state of mind to be investing in Palantir at this point. So Palantir faced a 6-day losing streak throughout the week after it posted its surprise earnings loss, and the lockup expiration freed 80% of the big data firm's stock to trade publicly. Two of Cathie Wood's top exchange-traded funds took advantage of that dip. The ARK Innovation ETF, ticker ARKK, which has been absolutely killing it over the past year. they bought 5,274,000 shares. And the big data firm on Thursday, of the big data firm on Thursday, and ARK Next Gen, which is ARKW, they purchased 1.5 million shares. So if you guys don't know about ARKK, I actually made a video on ARKK not too long ago, going through all the different stocks that are within that fund. So go check out that video. At Thursday's closing price, the two ARK ETF investment acquisitions amount to roughly $172 million worth of Palantir stock. It's worth more than that now because Palantir is up 14%. All ARK ETFs reveal their trades and emails to client daily. So that is one cool thing, side note, but they actually release all of their trades daily to their shareholders, which is really cool. So overall, Cathie Wood, she bought more Palantir. She obviously believes in the company. And let's kind of take a little technical look at where Palantir can go from here. So while if you are a long-term investor, technicals aren't going to really mean too much to you, it's still important to get a base understanding of how a stock moves, in my personal opinion. I do more of what's called an active long-term investing. I don't really know if that's even a thing, but that's what I call it because I'm actively looking for psychological support and resistances. When you look at a support and resistance on a ticker, it doesn't mean that like physically a stock is unable to get through that price. It just means that psychologically that's what people are willing to pay for it, not willing to pay for it. And if you look at the past 6 months, people are extremely willing to be buying Palantir at $24. There is major support here. We've bounced multiple times at $24. You can also see too that when you look at this volume profile, the volume profile, what this is showing you is the price that big buyers are coming in at. And they're all coming in at $24, $25, $26, $27. Not a lot of buyers up top. So in the industry, we do have what's called a dead cat bounce. So if you are a trader and you have found yourself here, you do have what's called a dead cat bounce. And a dead cat bounce is when a stock takes a major fade, and then we get a quick little bounce back up, followed by a major fade. And essentially what happens is it traps a lot of people into buying into this stock. Now, one thing I will say from a shorter term standpoint, like the next probably week, 2 weeks, we had a ton of calls come in. So big money was buying this up too. We are getting a bit of a reverse head and shoulders pattern forming here. So if I go to the 1 hour, it'll be a little bit easier for you to see. We have a bit of a shoulder here, a bit of a head here, might pull back to another shoulder, and then we might see a massive push back up, at least back up to $31, $32, maybe $38. But big money has been buying into this. From a long-term investing standpoint, I think Palantir is a good but very risky investment. And it's one of those things like you're not going to want to be selling it before 2, 3, 4, 5 years from now. From a trading standpoint, however, if you got in at 24, 25, 26, I think it's not a bad time to hold the position, depending if you have options or shares. But from a trading standpoint, I wouldn't be buying this right now. I do think that it can push back up to 31, 32, 33. But I think it's going to be tough to get back up into that 45, 46 range that we saw around all-time highs. So guys, if you enjoyed this video, if this video helped you at all, hit the like button, subscribe to this channel. It means the world to me. If you guys want to be part of my private stock market academy, get access to all my trades live as soon as I take them, live stream with me every single morning with my team, and get access to our 60-hour course library, use the link down in the description, use the code Academy90, and you can get started for $10 your first month. Thank you guys for all of the support. Have a great day.